Bueno, la verdad que soy un agradecido al Barcelona que me dio la oportunidad de poder cumplir mi sueño, de poder pelear por ello, y obviamente es fundamental en toda mi vida, tanto en lo futbolístico como en la vida personal. Llegué con 13 años y prácticamente llevo más tiempo acá que en mi propio país.
It's true. When Lionel Messi needed help in the most difficult moments of his life, FC Barcelona were always there for him. As a kid, the boy was made fun of and ostracized for being different. But while many people didn't believe in him, others encouraged him to never give up. What everyone saw as a weakness, he made it his strength. Despite poverty and health problems, little Messi became great, and today, many people consider him the greatest. You can also break the mold and don't stick to the norms. Take inspiration from Lionel Messi's journey. A skinny little boy. That's many people's first memory of Lionel Messi. This little boy's story started a long way from Barcelona. To understand how La Pulga reached this point today, we have to go back in time. Lionel Andres Messi Cuccittini was born on June 24, 1987 in Rosario, Argentina. He was Jorge and Celia Maria's third child. They had Rodrigo and Matthias before him. After the boys, Maria Sol was the family's youngest child. At the time, the Messis lived in the poor neighborhood of Las Heras, in the south of Rosario. The family was relatively modest and money was sometimes a problem. Jorge worked in a manufacturing plant, while Celia was a part-time cleaner. But this didn't stop the family from having plenty of good times. On the contrary, they were extremely close and loved each other very much. Leo would quickly find a love of his own. As soon as he knew how to walk, he became obsessed with football. When he saw his older brothers play, he couldn't stop himself from wanting to take part. Sometimes, when his brothers were tired of him, he'd have a tantrum so he could have as much fun as he wanted. Many people thought the kid was completely crazy. But in reality, when he wasn't playing football, Lionel stepped back. Whether that was at home or school, he never spoke. His shyness was a real obstacle to his social life. But this stopped him from performing at school especially. In honest terms, Lionel Messi was never interested in school. For him, the ball was the only thing that made sense. As soon as he was playing on the pitch or on the street, he was never the same. At home, he didn't speak, but with the ball at his feet, it was like he was singing. But to successfully establish yourself in this profession, you have to be strong in a range of domains. Being skillful isn't enough. You have to also impose yourself physically. At least, that's what everyone thought before seeing this little genius on the pitch. It was during his first match with a local club that Leo revealed himself. The coach was pacing up and down for a long time. One of his players was absent and the game couldn't start. So, Lionel Messi's grandmother, also a football fanatic, insisted that her grandson could play in the team. Salvador Aparicio refused at first because Leo was too small. He was afraid the older players would hurt him. But Doña Celia didn't give up on her protege. She kept insisting until Aparicio gave in. The first ball went past him, on his right, without him reacting. But the second one landed right on his good leg, the left. After controlling the ball, he started dribbling. One player, two, three. I was afraid the others would hurt him, so I told him to shoot. But he continued without stopping. I'd never seen that. I said to myself, I'm never taking this kid off my team. He delivered performances in this vein nearly every time he played. And his level soon caught the attention of the biggest local club, Newell's Old Boys. When he joined their academy, he met Antonella Rocuzzo. At the time, their relationship wasn't anything like it is nowadays, but the two kids were very close and good friends. The young girl played an important role when it came to the boy's shyness. Little by little, he went from being very introverted to more sociable. They had a close friendship, and that didn't go unnoticed. Aside from being shy, there was one other thing that made him stand out at first glance: Leo's small stature. He was just 3'7", aged 9. This worried a lot of people, including Dr. Schwartzstein. On January 31st, 1997, he called Lionel and his parents to tell them that their kid was suffering from a lack of growth hormones. To fight against this problem, The boy needed intramuscular injections of a synthetic hormone, a serious and expensive treatment without which it would be impossible for him to grow taller than 4'9" as an adult. My parents did my injections at first, until I learned how. Then, at the age of 12, I started to inject my legs once a night. It was something that didn't interest me. It was a small needle, it didn't hurt, and it was just part of my routine that I had to do, and I did it normally. At first, the Ascinder Foundation took complete responsibility for this treatment, but unfortunately, the economic crisis in Argentina put an end to this precious support. Without it, little Leo's hopes vanished. His dream of becoming a professional footballer disappeared. But Jorge and Celia refused to give up on their child. They gave everything they could to pay the astronomical sums required for their son's treatment. But once again, this wasn't enough. The only option was to turn towards clubs that could take charge of this treatment. According to the Messi family, several Argentine clubs showed interest in Leo, including River Plate. But his treatment slowly made them lose interest one by one. In the end, in 2000, following the advice of an agent who recommended that his parents turn towards European clubs, Lionel Messi joined FC Barcelona. This version of events has been rejected by many sources in Argentina who explain that he got most of his treatment in his home country. Who cares? Hope had returned. Leo continued his treatment and grew enough to start his training at Barca. And when he joined La Masia, his talent had everyone in agreement. He even silenced all the comments about his atypical physique. His rise within the Catalan club was astonishing. In a few years, he climbed the ranks until he joined the professional team. But his real breakthrough happened in 2007. That year, he scored a hat-trick against Real Madrid and scored a Maradona-esque goal against Getafe. The good performances stacked up, but so did the injuries. And with Pep Guardiola's arrival on the touchline, many people had their doubts. La Pulga's lifestyle was starting to be questioned. While his height was no longer a problem, and while he was delivering on the pitch, Lionel Messi was often sick. Sometimes he'd throw up because he hadn't eaten anything. Off the pitch, it wasn't any better. For years, I ate badly. Until I was 22 or 23, I let myself go and I would eat chocolate, cookies, soda. But now I eat well. I eat everything in a much more rigorous manner. From time to time, a bit of wine is quite nice too. I've especially seen a change with my vomiting problems. In 2009, Leo returned to Argentina and reunited with Antonella. From then on, the player changed in many ways. It was in particular after this that his bad eating habits started to disappear. But like when he had to undergo his hormone treatment, he wasn't able to do it alone. And in settling down with his childhood sweetheart, Lionel Messi became much more responsible. Antonella has always been a huge source of support for the Barcelona player. His impressive trophy collection, his crazy career, La Pulga naturally owes all of this to his talent, but also to a lot of hard work, passion, and determination. When Lionel Messi was a kid, he was very introverted. He was afraid to speak too much and struggled to establish himself because of his growth problems. But when he had a ball at his feet, all his problems disappeared. It's by understanding this that he became one of the best footballers in history. Thanks to his hard work and commitment, he never gave up on his dream and proved that despite differences, it's possible to make it. His family, his club, his fans, he always received undying support in his toughest moments. Lionel Messi is the best example of physique never really being an obstacle. So you too can use what makes you different and turn it into your biggest weapon. And never forget that there's no secret to success, except that you have to work hard to achieve it.